Okay, here's the next lesson in our music theory series. We're going to be talking about the major scale spellings today, just on this side right here. So this is going to be starting out with the C major scale, and we're going to be using this formula that we talked about in the last lesson, where we're going to go whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Each of those are steps. If you look up here and you start right here with your C as the first position, that's what we did right here. And if you go a whole step from the first note to the second note, you have to skip over here because these are all a half step apart. You come to the D. If you look at the second step to the third step, it's another whole step, which is the E. If you go from the third to the fourth, it's a half step, which is your F. Okay? And then you're going to go a whole step from your F to your G. You're going to go another whole step from your G to your A. You can either think of it that way or wrapping it back around here. You've got a whole step there from your A to your B, which is your 6th to your 7th degree. And then to wrap back around to the next note in your scale, that's your half step, which is your B note back to your C. So right here, if you can think about this as a whole step, half step, whole, 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 half. And the way this is lined up right here, this is a very systematized way of thinking about this. And we're going to do the same exact thing here. I'm going to start on my G, and I'm going to go a whole step, which is going to bring me to the A. And I'm going to do a whole step again, and I'm going to go to the B. And then I'm going to go a half step from the B to the C. A whole step from the C is going to get me to the D. A whole step from there is to the E. A whole step from the E is then going to put me over here to the F sharp note. As I mentioned before, you have to use one representative from each of the letters. I can't go to the G flat right there because we already used the G back here. And then the half step from the F sharp is going to put me back to the G. We're going to do the same thing for each of these different scales right here. So we're going to go from the D to the E. A whole step from the E is going to put me to an F sharp. The half step from the F sharp is going to bring me to the G. A whole step is to an A. A whole step is a B. A whole step from the B is going to be then the C sharp note. And then to the D. And I'm going to fill the rest of these out without talking right now. Feel free to pause the video if you want to try this on your own. It's a really great exercise. It's very, very helpful. Okay, so when we get to these last two right here, this is where there's also some questions that need getting answered. So if we do the whole step from the F sharp, it's going to bring us to the G sharp. Another whole step from there is going to be the A sharp. Again, I'm using this chromatic scale that we worked on 2 lessons ago. It always works in this sequential order. So go back and look at this if this doesn't make sense right here. So we went whole step and then a whole step. And then the half step from the A sharp is going to bring me to the B. And then a whole step from the B is a C sharp note. And then a whole step from the C sharp note is going to be a D sharp note. Now my next step right here is actually being asked for a whole step. That's this one right here between the 6th and the 7th degree of the scale. I didn't understand this when I was first being shown it, but I just had to listen to my teacher and he explained it to me. Because the rule is that you have to use one representative for each letter because that's the way the rules were written a long time ago. If I'm right here and I'm going to this whole step, which is going to be an F, I actually have to call this an E sharp note. It still sounds the same as an F, but we're going to call it an E sharp note for the case of this scale right here. And then because I'm here, and this is an E sharp, a half step from here is going to then bring me back to the F sharp. And the same thing's going to happen down here with the C sharp note. So it's going to be C sharp, D sharp, E sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp. Same thing right here. We have to go a whole step from here. It's going to be the A sharp, and instead of calling it a C, we have to call this a B sharp right here. And then we go to a C sharp. And what you'll notice if you look at each of these incrementally, you will see that each of these scales, as you go to the next one, adds a new sharp to the entire one. So this one's F. In the key of D, you've got an F and a C. In the key of A, you've got an F, a C, and a G. And it just continues all the way down. So by the time you get right here in the key of C, there were no sharps and any flats. And then if you count the rest of these numbers down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, each one of these adds a new sharp to it. And a guy that I used to work with a long time ago helped me with an acronym that I thought was very helpful. And what he said was, in the order of sharps, the way of thinking about it is fish, cats, goats, dogs all eat bananas. So this 7th degree of each of the major scales right here is the new sharp note that gets added. And once it gets added in, it remains sharp for the remainder of all of them. So the only scale right here where the F note is not sharped is up here in the key of C. In the key of G, the F is a sharp note. Down here in D, it's the F and the C that are both sharped. The F is sharped on the remaining side of this page right here. All right, thanks so much. We'll see you in the next lesson.